So I'm going to go right ahead and start applying colour to the Surf Star logo, and I'm going to do 3 options. So I'm going to copy this across with Alt Shift, left mouse button and drag. So we can either make several options for us to decide upon ourselves to present a single colour option for one logo to the client, or we can present a series of colour options to the client. Personally, I prefer just to send one version with a chosen colour scheme initially, and then we can discuss colour variations and possibilities further down the line. So if we consult the client questionnaire, we can see how many colours would you like to use in your design, and the answer is 4 maximum. So we have up to a maximum of 4 colours we can use in each of the logos. Okay, to highlight this, I want to see if we can ungroup. And we can't ungroup this star because we made it into a compound shape. So I'm going to highlight the star, go to the Pathfinder panel. Under Pathfinders I click Divide, and then I go to Object, Ungroup. Now each of these sections of the star are now selectable. I'm going to delete these 2, and I'm going to highlight and replicate with Alt Shift, just to ensure that those ones also can be selected in its pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try an idea I have with the blue, and I'm using CMYK. You can see this in the colours panel. If you click top right hand corner, you can see all the colour modes, CMYK, RGB, and I have CMYK selected, and here's the swatches below. So I'm going to now select those 2, and I'm going to select the blue out of the swatches panel, but I'm going to use the sliders above to adjust it to another tone of blue. So what I'm trying to do here is represent the sky as a dark blue, represent the sea as a lighter blue, and as you might have guessed, the portions beneath are going to represent the sand. So we'll adjust this yellow that we've just selected with the sliders and the colour panel. Now the initial tone I had there was considering, but it's a little too light. There isn't much impact, so although we need to match sand, we do need to make it a little bit brighter than sand, just so it's got some sort of wow factor as a surf logo. And I'm happy with that. So now we come to the type. I'm going to select all, or rather I'll select first. We ungroup, select first, and we'll see if we can match this dark blue with the eyedropper tool in the tools panel by clicking upon the peak of the star, and with the direct selection tool selected, I'm also going to use the eyedropper tool to match the rectangle, and with the eyedropper tool I'm also going to match the blue for surfing down below. Now with that done, I do think that the blue can be a little bit darker, so with shift held, dragging across surfing, clicking the rectangle and then dragging across first, and the peak of the star, all are selected together, I can now take the bottom slider and increase the darkness of that blue. There we go. Now in contrast, I want to bring up this blue just to be a little bit more darker since we made those changes. and I'm happy with that. So you see now the text that says first point also matches the first point of the star. So there's association there between symbol and text. For the next colour scheme, I'd like to keep this beach idea in mind, but perhaps try some different blues and a different tone for the sand. So I'm going to go right ahead and select the blue again from the swatches, and I'm going to play around with the sliders to find something appealing yet different from the one on the left hand side. So just manipulating the sliders. We obviously need to keep a blue colour or thereabouts because it's going to represent the sky, or we could suggest that the sky has a sunset colour perhaps, so we have red or orange or yellow to work with, but we need to keep a yellow colour for the sand if we need to keep the same concept in mind. So selecting the other parts of the star, left mouse button holding shift to select both, and we want another shade for the sea, so clicking on a colour of blue in the swatches, and then we use the sliders again, the colour panel, to manipulate the CMYK. See, we could have the sea a darker colour than the sky, which is usually the case, so this might look more realistic than what first point would. But the sacrifice we make now is that we can't have bold coloured text for first point and have the association between text and the first point of the symbol. But we'll see how this goes. So we'll take the sea to a darker blue whilst keeping the top point, or the sky as it's meant to be, a lighter blue. So now for the sand, click a colour on the swatches again, and then we'll manipulate the sliders. So we'll make this less pink, we'll bring up the yellow and bring the magenta down just a bit. Now, as mentioned previously, there is a lot of bold colours in surfing logos, brands. However, there's nothing stopping us from using something like this perhaps, which is different from the one on the left that sees a bright orange. So we highlight the text once more on the tagline, holding shift and dragging across, and we'll try to match the first point of the star and see how that looks. As you can see, that looks too dim, so we'll need to match this blue. Alternatively, we could introduce another colour, because we have got 4 colours to play with, but it wouldn't actually be appropriate. You would find that the text would look odd compared to the mark. It's always a good idea for the text to share some colours with the mark, though it's not a hard and fast rule. There is many logo designs out there that don't share the same colours as the mark in the text. So for the third design, I'm going to go from the beach idea completely and explore something else. So if we look at the client questionnaire, we have what are your preferred colours. So we've got orange, yellow, dark blue and light blue. So we've pretty much covered those in the idea of the beach. So we also have red and black to play with. So I'm going to go right ahead and I'm going to colour the star red. I'm going to keep the text black, but I'm not going to keep it a hard black. I'm going to select all, apart from the point, the word point, because this is actually coloured white at the moment. So I'm going to bring this down to 93. So this just gives it a shade that's off from black and makes it a bit more distinctive. So with that done, I'm going to play with some shades of red. So we've got another 2 colours to play with. So perhaps we could change this to dark red. Or making a copy, we could make those the dark red. Using the eyedropper tool, we match the reds above. Like that as an idea. I think that stands out more than the one above, so I'm going to go ahead and delete the one above. Now these would represent my 3 colour options, so my personal approach would be to present one of these to the client. Now each one of these, reviewing them finally, has their own merits. Okay, so to look back upon this, I think this one is actually going to be the favourite, and I'll tell you why. Although the centre surfboard doesn't look like the colour of the sky, it now gives the impression of a scene where surfboard is stuck in the sand and we see the sea in the background, whilst being a star composed of surfboards. So with that logo suddenly popping out with that concept and hosting so many ideas within its design and colouring, I'm going to consider this piece as the final.